Hey y'all, well, if you watch this channel at all, you know my name's Ren Ramsey. I don't have a niche here. This just is all about me and my wife and us doing things together and living life together. So right now, what I'm doing is, it's in the fall and I am working on trying my best to get my lawn ready to go for the fall. So very small window of opportunity for me here in North Carolina to get my lawn prepped and planted and fertilized and all that neat stuff, nutrients to it before it gets to be too late. So we've got to establish a ground cover before the frost hits and all that neat stuff. So this year is kind of a rebuilding year for me. Last year I just trashed the whole thing and actually hired out my lawn care for the whole year. And the first thing they did last year was, I was mainly weeds. So I'm trying to grow fescue, mainly weeds, and that's all I had. So they just killed everything. And then from there was a rebuilding. Came back in the fall. They killed it late summer, and then came back kind of late fall really, and replanted everything, and then come and did the nutrients from there. So this year I'm doing it myself. Now, why am I doing it myself? Well, I used a local guy, and I just did not feel like it got the attention that it should have gotten. So he did successfully grow me fescue. I do have that established, and I don't have too many weeds in it, but I just felt like he was kind of always behind the 8 ball getting stuff done, and so it never really got established great. I got a lot of spaces in between, a lot of blades, and then the biggest thing was, two biggest things was, I had some huge spots you'll see in a minute that never grew anything. And when his crews came back, they would come back and replant that section, but they would only do it when they were scheduled to come do an application of some other chemical, and they were using chemicals. And they just threw the grass out, so didn't rake it up or anything like that, so it never had good soil contact, and it just never took. And so all year I've had these huge bare spots, and they hadn't been getting worse, but they have been filling in with weeds and stuff like that. So I always kind of felt like he was on his pre-emergent, was behind that and everything else. And so I just decided I was going to go with True Green. I'll go ahead and say their name. I was going to go with True Green this year, and it was a complete disaster. They never even got out here. So I paid my money, signed up for the service, all ready to go. Got a good price. So I felt like a whole lot cheaper, about half of what I paid for it last year. Last year, to do my whole lawn, which is 11,000 square feet, I think I paid $2,400, something like that. So I was going to pay like $950 because he gave me all kind of discounts if I'd sign up right then, and military veterans discount, AAA discount, all this neat stuff. Well, I never could get them to get out here on the day they said they were coming out here. And I had a short window when I needed them to be here because I have a dog. They're applying chemicals. I want to be able to put my dog up and him not being around while they were doing that. It's an outside dog while we're at work. So never could get them to get their ducks in a row and to make that happen for me. And they were just terrible about communicating, terrible. And so that was one of the things I stressed to them early on in our relationship, was that communication was paramount. Because my last guy, I would call him, leave a message, text him, he wouldn't return text. And so I'm sure he's busy, aren't we all? Anyway, so I fired True Green before they ever showed up. Still hadn't got my money back from them, so I'm working on getting that back. So this year I decided to go with the treatment you may not have heard of. It's called Sunday. So Sunday is basically, it's a mail order system. They have support people, but it's basically a mail order system. But the nutrients are not in granular form, and they're not chemicals per se. So they are nutrients that are derived from natural ingredients like seaweed, molasses, other things that are natural like that. So as soon as it dries up, which doesn't take too long, as soon as it dries, and you're applying it in liquid form with a hose, as soon as it dries, then your animals can get back on it. And I'm trying to build a forever dog, forever as long as he can live. And so We'll talk about that program a little more in another episode, but that's what I'm trying this year is a Sunday program, so we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and real quick, let's look at the loan that what I've got now and what I've got to work with. So this is my loan. You can see, looking at it, it's very sparse. I've already plugged this section, aerated it, and overseeded it on Friday. Today's Monday, so I got that in to beat the rain. But you can see there's lots of bare spots, lots of places, and those are not rocks, those are the plugs that came out of it. So I got up to this point right here, and then I have not gotten on this section right here. So there's a couple things that I'm trying, and I'll show you the equipment, what I'm doing. The first thing is I'm dethatching it. So if you see all that dead gray stuff that's down in there, that's dead grass, and a lot of that is thatch. So even where I've got some decent grass growing, there's still a lot of thatch down in there, a lot of dead stuff. So some of it is doing better than other parts of it. And that's probably in part too, this doesn't get as much sun. The front yard gets more sun than anything else. So what I've done is dethatched it, and this is the steps I'm taking. So I come in and cut it, and then I dethatch it. Then I come back, and the dethatcher that I purchased is electric dethatcher, and it also has another piece you can put on it, which actually cuts little furrows into it. I can't remember what the name of that is right now, but it cuts little furrows into it. Swap it out after you dethatch it, and that way it kind of gets a little aeration going on. And then of course I am also coming back and plugging it. So that's what all these little cores are right here. These are plugs, and you can see I'm plugging it about, I don't know, probably 1.5 inches, something like that. So that's a sprig complete with topsoil and the grass, and so that's what I'm doing. Maybe not 3 inches, maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches. But so these are the bare spots I was telling you about that I had, and I've got them overseeded and just really seeded is what I went back and did. So I plugged them up, turned them up, got pretty aggressive with that, and then I planted or sowed it, and now I have come back, and that's called, put some topsoil on top of it. That's called top dressing. So I've got to do those bare spots back there, and I've got some in the backyard as well that I've got to do. But the top dressing is about 1/4 inch of topsoil. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some water on it, probably starting tomorrow. But I've got the whole side yard and the backyard to do yet. And what my plan is with that is to go ahead and do those. And then I will, go through the whole process with those. Starting out, I'm probably going to do this side yard first and dethatch it, and then aerate it. And then I will do the same thing with the backyard. And I'll wait this weekend. If it's going to be dry, I will go ahead and rent a core aerator and do that. Dethatching, I could go ahead and do anytime now. That way I can do the aeration and the core drilling right before I plant, so the seeds got good soil contact. They'll fall down in the little furrows and fall down in the plugs. The cores, when I do that, and I get real aggressive with the cores and the aeration when I get to the bare spots and replant that. So that is what the process is going to be. And then I'll just let you join along with me this whole season and through the spring, and we will see how it goes after I go through this whole process. Give you some prices of how much it cost me to do all this, and compared to what I would have paid True Green. And of course, the more I think about it, or the more I get online and look at True Green's reviews, the more I'm glad I did not do True Green, because they seem to just, nobody likes them. Nobody gives them good reviews. Nobody gives them good comments. So there's a couple of them that looks like a little suspicious they might be their employees. But in any case, of course, a lot of times you don't get great comments. I know that you're going to get more bad comments than good comments, just because people don't give comments as much. But you can always tell when 99.9% Ivory Pure, the comments are bad. So glad I didn't go True Green. Hopefully going to be glad I went with Sunday. If I didn't, hasn't cost me that much. We will go over that later along with some other stuff, and I'll show you one of the tools that I'm using in my next video, and all about top dressing and all that neat stuff. So until the next video, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe down below if you want to follow my wife Angela and I along as we just do life, and looking forward to hearing all you. Leave a comment down below. I'd be glad to answer any comments you got, and just looking forward to doing life with you. All right, y'all take care, and we'll see you later.